Okay, so welcome everybody to the masterclass. Finally, with lovely Sarah, who's going to be talking all about crystals. So I will be quiet, I will be on mute, and thank you everybody who's joining us live and who will be in the catch up as well. So I hand it over to you, Sarah.
Hello everybody. So for those who haven't met me before, my name's Sarah Watt and my business is called Lemurian Lotus Living. And I, over the years, have worked with crystals professionally and for my own healing. And I did therapies before COVID, in-person workshops, and now everything's online. And this is my first Zoom. So Samantha will keep me right. I thought I would just go over the sort of crystals 101, things that I wish I had known when I was starting with crystal healing, things that aren't in the books, things that I've picked up on over the years that have helped me. And I'll try and keep it as simple as possible because I could end up talking for hours and hours. So if there is something that I mention that's maybe too complicated, just, I don't know if you're allowed to put in the chat something, just let me know and I can maybe try and explain it a bit better. Or I can maybe make that a separate video in Samantha's group or my group and tag you to explain, because some things can take quite a while to go into. So the first thing is so when I did crystals, I was buying crystals, every crystal I could find, because I believed, because that's what the books sort of tell you, that you buy a crystal and this crystal is going to do X, Y, and Z. And the more crystals you have, the more magic you're going to have, and the more it's going to help your life. And that's sort of true, but one of the biggest mistakes I made was I just kept buying lots and lots of crystals and not realizing what I was buying. I didn't know there was a difference between man-made crystals and real crystals. I was just buying them, seeing them as stones and wanting them to basically heal me. Over the years, I've sort of changed my perception with working with crystals, and I see them now as living beings. They can grow, they can evolve, they feed from the environment, they do all the things that a living being does, like a tree. And so I have a lot of respect for them, and I try not to use the words using crystals, as in I prefer to say working with them. It's like a partnership. So I was buying a crystal, putting it on the shelf and expecting it to do all these miraculous things without realizing that it's a two-way thing. It is like very much like the crystal is your friend, but they have to get to know your energy and you have to connect with their energy, and everyone's different. So I see a lot of groups on Facebook saying, which crystal do I need for to be happy or to lose weight, that sort of thing. And then people will list a whole pile of crystals, and then someone will maybe go and buy all these crystals, nothing's worked for them, and then they wonder, A, have they bought the wrong crystals? B, have the crystals been fake? Or C, have they just done something wrong themselves? And it can be neither of these. It could be just that these are not the right crystals for you, because you may be, your energy is different. So what works for me might not work for you in the same way with the same crystal. So I believe it's very important to learn intuitively how to connect with crystals so that it's a bonding. It is like a friendship over time. And like a lot of the assessments that I have in the modules for my online courses are repetitive, some of them, but that's on purpose, because you can have one crystal and work with it for every day for 3 weeks and have something completely different every time each day. And then when you look back on your journaling, you'll see really how big a difference it's helped you, possibly without even realizing. So the first thing as well is when people say to me, where do people get the crystal meanings from? Who decides that a rose quartz is for love, or say turquoise is for communication? Who makes this stuff up? And for years I never knew, I didn't understand it either. And I was just religiously buying all the books, going to the books and just doing what the book said. The crystals have been used, sorry, I don't like to say used, worked with from the beginning of time. There's over 200 references to crystals in the Bible. Theophrastus, who was an apprentice, Plato's apprentice, he wrote one of the first documents on crystal healing, listing the crystals and the meanings. I think it was called Perilethos. And there's been many, many writings over a period of time, along with very ancient civilizations working with crystals for technology and healing, like Lemuria and Atlantis. So it goes, some people think it's a new age thing and it's just a woo-woo hippie thing, but this has been something that's been in our consciousness and part of our part of us working with these crystal beings from the very beginning. Let me see, I hope that makes a bit of sense.
Perfect sense.
So there's a history behind crystals. There's also different reasons why a crystal will have a meaning. So you've got the color. So everything is vibration and frequency. So you have different colors. Every color has a vibration. And you will see how that works with the chakras, the energy centers. Each chakra has a different color, a different frequency. And it starts off, with the root chakra, red. It works its all its way up to higher frequency as you go. And there's different colors for the chakras. So every color has a specific vibration. So there's the color, which is part of the crystal meaning, the crystal properties. There's also the crystal structure. And the crystal structure isn't the actual overall shape of the crystal, but actually the internal structure from the atomic level. I won't go too much into that, but there's 7 crystal structures within the crystal system, and that comes into play with what the meanings mean as well. There is also the fact there's a crystal shape as well, so the overall shape comes into play. So you have spheres, and these are great for creating balance because the energy all the way around it is balanced all the way around. So these are great for having around the house. You've got towers, which are great for creating grid work, crystal grids, or also having around the house, but directing the energy. Great for manifestation as well. You could hold it within your auric field, your aura, and this will direct the energy upwards up through your crown chakra, and this way downwards for grounding. So crystals like this is an amethyst. And the reason crystals are so work in a specific way is they can be programmed, or they have the ability to hold information like a USB stick, and they were used like USB sticks in the ancient times. You've got what people call now Lemurian crystals, where it's believed that the knowledge has been programmed into the crystal, and Lemurians have like little barcodes on them, and you can meditate with them and receive the information. So crystals have a lattice structure, which just means that the pattern or the structure of the crystal repeats over and over, and that's what makes it a really good amplifying energy tool. So you can see all the points there but it's all a repeated pattern of the one crystal structure. I'm trying to be as simple as...
Lift it a wee bit higher. Okay.
Aye.
A wee bit there. That's it.
So you can see the points there, but you can see this is like the matrix or the base of the crystal. Try and get this right. You can see there that it's a repeated pattern over and over and over. And this is quartz. Amethyst is a form of quartz. I keep going the wrong way. There we are, a form of quartz. And it's from the, my mind's gone, hexagon structure. So it's 6-sided. And that can also be very important when you're getting really into crystal gridding, because each, I'm trying to start from the beginning. So each shape or crystal structure is connected with sacred geometry, which is just the blueprint of everything in life. Everything in life is based on specific shapes or mathematics, which you don't need to know about. But each shape that comes into the sacred geometry, you've probably seen the flower of life. Can't find anything with the flower of life, but the flower of life pattern, you probably see, no, it's not that, forget it. So all the platonic solids, there's 5 platonic solids, they come within the flower of life pattern for everything in nature. So the crystals all are part of a particular platonic solid. The platonic solids, you could go even deeper, and that comes into the elements of the earth, earth, fire, water, the ether. Probably forgotten one, but it can go further and further deep into why the crystal has meanings. Anyway, you can also get into the astrology if you're really into that as well. So there's so much into what goes into why a crystal has a meaning in the first place. And then from that, if you resonate with the crystal and work with the crystal a certain way, then you will know what it can, how it can work for you, and why, by knowing, understanding where all that comes from, basically, all the different elements to the crystal meanings. So you've got your color, the shapes, the structures. Also locations are very important as well. So some say the best citrine comes from, say, Brazil. Again, that's a lot of things are personal preferences. So some people prefer Brazilian amethyst, some people prefer Congo. Different locations have different vibrations for the same crystal. So an amethyst in one location will feel differently from another location. There's a lot of fake crystals, and one of the main ones I wanted to tell you about, because that's a whole course in itself, is citrine. Now citrine, because I have chronic fatigue syndrome and I've had it for nearly 30 years, when I first started out, I kept asking teachers, what's the #1 crystal I need for chronic fatigue? And they always said citrine. So I've got loads of blocks of citrine, not knowing for years that this is heat treated amethyst, which is different from natural citrine. So what they basically do is they get the amethyst and they bake it to a certain temperature in a lab, and it creates the citrine. So some people like it. Some people say there's no difference with the natural citrine, but personally, I believe there is a difference. All the citrine that I've bought, it's been the only crystal, this heat-treated amethyst has been the only crystal that's never worked for me, and I've never got anything from it. But I've kept it as a reminder to, and it can work with a color frequency. So although it might not work as a citrine, it can work with the color. What's important to know that on the internet, you could have 6 websites saying one thing and 6 websites saying another. There's nothing black or white when it comes to crystals. So that's why it's really important to learn yourself what feels right for you. You might feel like heat-treated amethyst, citrine is the most powerful crystal you ever have, and it might do wonderful things for you. The best citrine though that I've had is citrine from Russia. It doesn't look as pretty. This is very rare from Russia. It doesn't look as pretty, but it's very, very powerful. And natural citrine, you can see it doesn't look the same. Natural citrine's got a smoky feel to it and isn't quite as that orangey burnt look to it. This I was also told was natural citrine, and that's also heat treated amethyst. So there's a big difference, and I would just say go with what you're drawn to. If you do feel drawn to this, as long as the supplier says to you it's heat treated amethyst citrine, then and you still feel drawn to it, then I don't see anything wrong with buying it if that's what you feel like you want to work with. It's just one of the most popular things that I see on the internet, and a lot of sellers won't tell you. So just something like that to be very wary of. Is that all okay so far? I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, so crystals, there's a lot of misinformation as well about the three things: cleansing, programming. I've forgotten the other one. Give me a minute. Cleansing, charging. So cleansing, programming, and charging. There's different meanings to it, and different practitioners will have different meanings to these terms. So cleansing, you can cleanse yourself. So when we've all had bad days, and then you go home and you still feel icky, you feel like the energy around you's followed you throughout the day. You maybe just gone to bed, you've got up and then you've had another bad day, and you wonder why that day's carrying on. And a lot of the time it's because you've not cleansed your energy. So the energy can be held within our auric field. And what we can do for ourselves energetically, which is very important if you're working with crystals, to have as clean as energy as possible so you connect with these high vibrational beings. You can do several things. One is using selenite, satin spar. And this is a ruler of selenite, satin spar. And so these things are really good. You can get them in wand form, which you can use yourself to just pretend you're like having a shower, and just pretend you're washing away all the yucky energy. So that's really good for that. It's also great for cleansing crystals. Some people will say that you don't need to cleanse crystals. Some people say you need to cleanse some crystals. For me, I feel like I have to cleanse all crystals except one, which is the selenite satin spar, because that's self-cleansing. It's considered the most liquid form of source light, very high vibrational. It's also one of the cheapest crystals you can get, funnily enough. So when you've been using crystals throughout working with crystals throughout the day, you want to be able to start again the next day with something, you would just place the crystals on the ruler, leave them overnight, and then they will be ready to be used the next day. It's the easiest way to cleanse crystals. You can also use sage. You can wand your crystals through the sage smoke. I don't use sage smoke in the house because of the cats, because it can annoy their lungs, can cause damage sometimes with all the smoke. So what I have, and I've not got it with me, but I've basically got like a sage spray which comes in a bottle, and I don't spray the actual crystals, but I spray on a cloth, and then I wipe the crystals with the sage spray. So that's a good way to cleanse, easiest way. What else? Oh yeah, I was just going to a little fun fact. This is my first ever crystal that I ever bought, and it was by accident. I went on eBay because somebody said I needed lapis lazuli, which looks very similar to this. And I bought it because it was in the sale. I think it was £6 or something. And I took it home, and for a very long time I thought it was lapis lazuli because I didn't know my names. And for some reason, it just really helped with anxiety. I ended up taking it with me every day. I put it in my bra. I started feeling better. I started sleeping better. I was holding it all the time at night for sleep. And I realized that it was sodalite, which is quite similar, has a different color slightly to lapis. This is lapis. See, it's a different kind of blue. This is sort of a darker denim-y blue, and this is a brighter blue. And lapis lazuli has pyrite in it. So that's one way of telling the difference between the two. But sodalite is one of the #1 crystals for me that I would never have known if I had just gone to a book. And it was just by accident that I ended up buying this and then working with it. And it's still one of my favorite crystals of all time to have. So that's sodalite. Do you want me to talk about self-care, things you could do for self-care with using crystals? Hello there.
Yes.
So there's a whole list of things you can use crystals for. You've probably seen things like this. Oh, I think even Lidl sells some of them. Be very careful because some of the cheap ones aren't so good and they break very easily. Also, sometimes the stones aren't real as well. They should be cold to the touch if they're genuine as well. So rose quartz is really good. It was used in the Egyptian times for circulation, and that's why it's one of the top crystals used for facial massage. And you just sort of, you can probably use this one. You sort of roll outwards and it gets rid of all the puffiness in the eyes. It's very good for, it's anti-aging, apparently, according to the Egyptians. There's also things like this you can get that's through battery controlled. So again, it's the same sort of thing. You can get, I don't know if you've seen it, it's a sort of like a heart or U-shape flat stone, and they call it gua sha. You don't need to remember the name of it, but what I didn't realize when I first started, I was buying them and using them, is that there is it is a particular skill and technique to using them. And if you're not careful, you could end up bruising yourself or blood clotting. So if you want to do gua sha, there is therapists that are trained to use these tools, but these ones are quite safe to use. I would recommend these better than the gua shas, just for your own self. You can also add oils to these as well, put oils on.
There's one that's got jade. I think it's a green stone. Is that jade?
So there's quite often you'll see the cheap ones and they'll say it's jade, and usually green aventurine, which is a type of quartz, is used instead of jade, but they'll call it Indian jade, and it's not real jade. There's also different kinds of jade. Try not to get into that, but there's different kinds of jade, and jade as well is also very good for its properties for skin and usefulness if you've got the real genuine jade. I always prefer just the rose quartz for circulation and anti-aging. I've got amethyst ones, which are really good for pain. Amethyst is the #1 for me. Again, everybody's different. Is the #1 stone for pain relief. You can either hold the stone on your point of pain. You can hold it in your hand. You can make drinks out of that. I'll go into that in a minute. It's great for migraines as well. Chevron amethyst, which has got purple and white in it, is also called dream amethyst. It's very good for pain relief, chronic pain. So if you get one of these and you suffer from migraines, it's quite a useful one to have. Or you can get face masks as well, are made from these stones. But if you are getting jade, it would be quite a lot of money if it's the real thing. So just be careful with that. Also, I've got black obsidian. Black obsidian is really good for inflammation. So the first thing I think of is when I want to choose a crystal is what's the reason that, what do I want to achieve from it? What's the intention? So for instance, if it's about pain, then I think, what crystal do I need for pain? Let's see, if I was going into a meeting, a work meeting, I would set the intention for the day to have a positive, good, communicative meeting. So then I would choose a blue crystal, which is all about communication and the throat chakra. And then once I chose a crystal, you don't have to have lots of jewelry if you can't afford that. Even just a wee blue stone in your bra, or hold it with people aren't looking. You can have that. And then to amplify that intention, I always try and wear the color of the crystal. So I would wear a blue top to match the crystal. And it helps me as a reminder as well throughout the day, as well as the color frequency. And that would amplify the intention of the crystal. I forgot what, yes. This is also a selenite bowl, selenite satin spar bowl. And these are really good for if you're wearing lots of bracelets, just pop them in at the end of the day. Again, just leave it overnight and then they'll be cleansed for the next day. Simple, simples. I always try and have clear quartz in my collection because clear quartz is the master healer. It's called the master healer because it works in any chakra. It works for any healing intention. And also it is a massive manifester. It amplifies the energy of all your crystals. So if you're wearing a clear quartz bracelet and say I've got clear quartz, then that will amplify the intention of the rose quartz. So it's like a double whammy. It's like Wonder Woman, special powers, clear quartz. So if you can't afford any, you don't have to have lots of bracelets, but clear quartz is a really good one to have. Just remember and cleanse them at the end of the day as well. One important other thing about bracelets, I've got lots of my bracelets on, is we receive energy from the left side. So our energy goes up through our left. So anything we want to receive as energy, you would wear the bracelet on your left. So here I've got, I'll show you what I've got, fluorite. That helps with brain fog, helps me remember things. I have pyrite for confidence, and obsidian for grounding, selenite for cleansing, because selenite doesn't just cleanse your crystals, it cleanses your auric field, and amethyst for spiritual awareness and increasing psychic awareness and connecting to your higher self. So these are all on the left hand side. I see a lot of people wearing them on the wrong side, and that's one reason why they're maybe not working for them. So always on the left side if it's something, an energy that you want to receive for yourself. On this side, I always wear rose quartz because I'm sending out love for anybody that's within the room. So I'm sending out love to you, all of you. And then the clear quartz is amplifying the rose quartz energy as well. If I was feeling really down and I wanted to give myself some love, some self-care, I would cleanse them and put them on the left-hand side and receive the love for myself. It's very good for realizing what your life purpose is, and connecting to your higher selves. Is that trying to make it simple, but these things aren't really simple.
No, that's absolutely amazing. It's really, I've learned loads. I mean, I have a few crystals and I learned a tiny amount, but even just this, because I know you have a mass of information in your mind. I have learned loads in this masterclass. Definitely, thank you.
I'm trying to see if there's anything trying to be very quick here. Very important, intentions are very important when working with crystals or on your spiritual path. Meditating with crystals, highly recommend. That's really the only way you'll know what you can get from the crystal. And the more you work with the one crystal, the more you'll receive. It really is like meeting a friend and having a deeper and deeper friendship. Energy cleansing, you can use crystals for protecting your own energy and space. One thing that really annoys me about bottles, I don't know if you've seen these bottles around with the crystals. I see a lot of them with just raw crystals towers in the base. So there's two ways for making these crystal waters, elixirs. You can have them raw, which I don't recommend because some stones are toxic. And even if they're not toxic, bits could break off and you could end up drinking that. So that's the direct method, by putting a stone directly into water. There's the indirect method, which is this. So I don't know if you can see, there's like a tube that goes into the bottle, and then the crystals are actually in the tube. So what these bottles do is they charge the water to the vibration of the crystal. So this again is great for headaches, clarity, spiritual awareness. So I've got different bottles for different things. This is a plastic one, which is BPA, you know, non-toxic plastic, all that jazz. You can get glass ones as well, but I had one glass one and I ended up breaking it. So they can be quite pricey. So I would suggest starting with the plastic ones, but you don't need to buy the bottles. If you want to go into my group, I've got a video on how to do direct and indirect crystal elixirs, or there's things on the internet, on YouTube as well. My golden rule for my direct elixirs or drinking water is quartz is safe. So amethyst is fine direct in water. Rose quartz, if you're feeling a bit down, pop a couple of tumblestones of rose quartz in your water, leave for a couple of hours. You can even make a jug of it and drink that. You'll be drinking the frequency of rose quartz. So clear quartz again, great. Any other ones, it's a wee bit iffy, so it can get complicated, which is toxic, which isn't. So I would just say stick with quartz if you want to do the direct method. Indirect method is when you don't have to have these fancy bottles. You could put them in the stones in a glass. Sorry, put the water in a glass, put the stones around the right outside of the glass, place it all in a glass bowl. So the stones are touching the glass of water, but not in the water. That's the simplest way of explaining that. It can be so useful. It's been a game changer for me because I never used to drink water, and it's really helped me. And it also helps set the intention for the day when you choose what crystal you want to drink for that day. There was one more thing, one very important thing. Sorry, have I got time?
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask a question, but
yes.
Yeah.
What do you want to ask?
I was just going to ask, like, what other, because I don't know an awful lot. I know there's probably thousands of different crystals, but like, what's the because I know that you gave me the chakra ones, so there's obviously, I think I've got more than 7 or 8 because I got a couple of extra ones. So, but how many would, like, and have you got any samples just now on, like?
Yes. So I always say, because your chakras and your energy is very important, you'll know, you know, your energy and your chakras have to be balanced. Otherwise, everything's out of whack. You start getting physical illness. So I think the best thing to do is practice working on your chakra balancing with your crystals. So the 7 crystals of the 7 colors. I've got a thing, it's part of the first course here. I think I've got a picture. But you can choose whatever you're drawn to, but these are the ones that I feel drawn to normally. So you've got red jasper, I think that's red jasper for the root chakra, carnelian for the sacral, yellow you could have pyrite, yellow aventurine for the solar plexus. The green would be green aventurine or any other green stones for the heart chakra. The throat chakra is blue stones. Then you've got the brow, which is the third eye, which some people say purple. Also, some people use purple for the crown chakra, but I tend to use clear quartz or white stones for the crown chakra. So you could lay these main stones on yourself as you're lying down and meditating, or you could individually hold one stone, just spend a week working on the root chakra, journal what your findings are, and then work your way another week to the solar plexus, whatever you feel you're drawn to. And then I've got these black ones there that you can put down at your base, so at the bottom of your feet, and that's just for grounding as well, while you're bringing the energy up. So if you are doing chakra balancing, I would start from the bottom, working your way up, and then grounding afterwards by just maybe holding a black stone while you meditate for a bit and do your grounding techniques, which, you know, imagining the energy going down to the ground. I won't go into that. So there's that. So I always say I've got chakra kits that I call the complete chakra kit, because I always put extras in for a reason. So apart from the 7 main stones, I always say you need clear quartz, points. So it doesn't matter what size, you can use this size or you can use this size. And what that does is, because we receive energy on the left, if you hold the point, I'm just going to use the big one so you can see, hold the point directing inwards, you're receiving the energy inwards. So you're receiving all that good energy. You're basically charging your energy. You're putting yourself on charge like a mobile phone. So then also after you've done that, you could have one other point pointing outwards on the right hand, and that's sending any energy out. So what that will do unblock any icky energy, and it will clear anything that's not meant to be sticking around. So you're charging and you're releasing energy, which is really useful to do when you're doing your chakra work as well. I've got the weir points and I've got medium points as well. So these are usually in the kits. The other 2 stones that I recommend are, where have I done with it? I thought I was prepared. Rose quartz, we all know what rose quartz is like. So rose quartz is the higher heart chakra, and a lot of people forget about that. They have the green for the green heart chakra, then you've got your higher heart. So I always put in a rose quartz for that as well. And then lastly, also a selenite stick for cleansing that comes into it. And then lastly, black tourmaline for protection, because when you're opening up your chakra and you're opening up your energy, it's you really need to learn energy protection as well, so that I don't want to scare people, entities, or you could end up having energy leaks and holes in your aura. So you want to be able to close that and protect yourself. Black tourmaline is brilliant as well, if like for wearing at work, if you work with the public. It's a great stone to have. It's just a really good protection from negative energy. There's other ones out there, but that's the one that I put in as well. So the 7 main chakras, stones, selenite, piece of selenite, a rose quartz, and a black tourmaline, and your wee points. And then I say you're all set. And anything else after that is a bonus. I see a lot of people going crazy and buying huge crystals all at once, think, oh, I need something for the solar plexus, and they spend a fortune on big posh crystals. You don't need to do that. If you feel drawn to a stone, start off with a tumble stone, just a wee small £1 stone, work with that. And if that helps you, then give it an upgrade. So then I would buy maybe a palm stone, which is slightly bigger, or maybe a bracelet, see how that feels. And then I become completely obsessed with that stone and buy everything I can on the internet or from a supplier. And then I go into the jewellery. So I'm a bit obsessed with gold and obsidian at the moment. So I'm gold and obsidian all over the place. And that changes every week what one I'm obsessed with, which is usually the stone that I'm needing at that time for healing.
What does that stone do for you?
It's golden obsidian, so it works in the same way as obsidian. It brings up anything that's unhealed. Golden obsidian's been really good for helping me with dream work, and then things I thought I had dealt with in the past have come up in my dream time, and I've been able to process that and say, oh, I thought I was over that, and then relook at it and do shadow work. It's been quite good for that. One thing I would say as well is a lot of people will buy a stone and then read the books, what the books say. I would really strongly advise against that, and don't let that influence you. Work with the stone yourself. Then when you feel confident what the stone can do for you, then go to the books and see what other people have experienced. And I think that's about it. Do you want to know what my favourite stone is? My favourite book is on stones.
Yeah, please.
So many crystal books.
The other thing is so I've heard you talk about amethyst quite a lot. So is that quite a powerful one for healing and for opening up your higher self? Did I get that right?
Yes. So amethyst works on your third eye. It opens up the pineal gland. It's all about increasing your intuition. It's very important to learn to trust yourself, trust your gut with anything to do with your energy work. And that's how you become more confident in working with crystals as well. Is I didn't trust my gut in the beginning, and I was just learning, listening to everybody else. And that's why I try and encourage people to do it this way, so that they will trust themselves, and then they won't need to rely on books and courses and all these things. So the amethyst will open up your third eye, your crown chakra, and your higher chakras above that. There's more than 7 chakras, higher chakras. It opens up your energy field. It also gives protection. If you pair that with rose quartz, then you've got connection to your higher self, connection to your spirit guides. It's just like two amazing crystals to have for anybody that's going through a spiritual awakening, I would say, to start off with. And
on a physical level, is it good for healing? Is that as well, like on the physical?
All kinds of healing. You can work on any pain points. So if you've got pain in your hand, you could hold an amethyst, put it on your hand, in your heart. If you've got chest pain, you can use it on anywhere on the body. Although it says for the third eye, it can be worked for anything. I had a lady that came in one of my workshops, and she was a wee bit late, and she was apologising because she sprained her ankle, and I gave her 2 chunks of raw amethyst. And after a couple of hours, she couldn't believe that the pain had gone. She tried everything. It was just really nice to see the relief on her face. It was just amazing. And that again is another trick that I used, not by the books, just by holding it and thinking, oh, wait a minute, I don't feel so sore now, I feel a wee bit better here. So that's why it's important just to play about with crystals and journal it, write it down. And one day it might do one thing, and another day might help you with another thing. So there's lots of crystal books out there. This is my favorite. It's huge. This is a lovely book with beautiful pictures. But why I like this, it's called The Book of Stones by Robert Simmons and Naisha Ashian. She's actually changed her name to Samaya, I think it's Ashtar, and she's on YouTube, and she was one of the first teachers. She's actually trademarked it now. She doesn't call it intuitive crystal healing, she calls it resonance crystal healing, but she works the same way as I do with working with your intuition. She does great videos on YouTube. So in the book, you get 2 points of view. You get Robert's point of view and Naisha's point of view. You also get science part of it. You get the colors, the mineralogy, the structure, everything, all on that one crystal. It's a lot of information for just say that's just moonstone. It's a lot of information. So although it's a heavy book, you can get pocket-sized version of these as well. But it's a nice book to have just for reference. Just very pretty pictures as well. They've done other ones on the series as well. There's new stones of the new consciousness as well, but I'll stick to the basics. Yeah.
Wonderful. That book looks amazing. It looks so big and so much information in it. Well, we're just heading up to the hour now, even though we didn't start quite on there. But I just wanted to say thank you so much. Honestly, I loved it and got so much out of it. Kirsty, did you have any questions at all?
Yeah, I did. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Sorry, the wee one was here trying to get me to plait her hair. Honestly,
right.
I'm quite interested. I never realised, I know crystals give you like healing energy and stuff like that, but for me, out of this, I'm more interested just when you were talking about like if you've got pain and stuff. So see how you were talking about, was it the amethyst?
Yeah.
And like the client, and how long did she hold on to the crystals for? I know you said it was 2.5 hours she felt the pain release, but how long does she have the crystals for, just out of curiosity?
So the workshop itself, the workshop itself lasted about an hour and a half, and then after the workshop I usually have a session where it's like a mini pop-up shop and people can buy crystals. I just said to her, just keep holding them until you want to go. So she stayed another hour and she was just quite, she says, I don't really want to leave, I'm quite happy here. Because amethyst can also help you with stress and anxiety, and it can help you sleep. So she was getting nice and chilled. But it's not the only one. There's lots of crystals out there that can help you with specific pain. Lepidolite is really good for, it's got lithium in it. So again, always look as well that the minerals that are in the crystal, they all come into play as well as to what the properties are. So the lithium and the lepidolite, which is a lovely purpley stone, I've got it on, will help with anxiety and helps you sleep as well. Obsidian is very good for inflammation. I had a lot of clients that will maybe put that on their ankles and or in a basin of water, and it will help reduce the swelling on their ankles if they put their feet in the.
God, who would have knew this? I never had I knew they were good for healing, but I never actually realised. Like
there's just so much, and I could sit here for another 10 hours and I wouldn't get the surface. But that was one of the reasons during COVID I was getting so many people ask questions. I made a website, and it's not about buying crystals. It's got a lot of information on chakras. You can do a search on chakras and different crystals, and information will come up. You could search through health issues. So if you've got, say, stomach pains or sleep issues, it will tell you different crystals and what the crystals do on that as well. And then there's also crystals A to Z if you just want to learn about different crystals. I think there's about 78 at the moment different crystals on the major headings, and then there's subcategories.
Wow. I'm away for a look.
A lot of free information. I've got customers that can't buy because I don't ship outside UK, but I've got a lot of customers that will email me and say, I'm in South Africa and your site's really helped me, and I'm going to my local sellers for blah blah, and thanking me for the information out there. So but I just want to stress, it is all just from my experience or experience from clients that I've had and people that have told me how things have helped them. And it's a complete change of life and a journey if once you start working with crystals. So I hope, I'm excited to hear how things develop and how you get on, Kirsty, with your crystals.
I think she actually ended up having to go because I can't see her.
No.
I think she ended up pressing the button there. But she will definitely so interested in her daughter as well, is really interested in it as well. That's why she was wanted to come, and I will give her the details. I'm just going to stop recording and just say thank you very much, and anybody wants to get in touch with you, I will put the details into the membership, and you will be able to buy crystals and find as much information about crystals from the lovely Sarah. Thank you.
Anybody's welcome to join my group as well.
Yes, your group as well. Yep, I will be putting all the links.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're more than welcome. It's been amazing.
Okay, bye.